Fog developing as we go through this evening, but generally largely dry by 5 o'clock. A mixture of cloud and clear spells across Northern Ireland to end the day, but overall many parts of England and Wales will be fairly grey to end this evening. There'll be some late clear spells across western parts of Wales and the very far southwest, but even here, as we go through the course of this evening, the cloud is likely to arrive. So bits and pieces of light drizzle perhaps working southwards across parts of Wales and southern England into the early hours. So a much milder night to come across England, Wales and Northern Ireland compared to last night, largely frost-free. But for Scotland, clear skies here, so a widespread frost developing and some patchy, dense, freezing fog by the end of the night, particularly in the central belt. That means it will be a grey start to the day on Sunday for some of us. The fog only very slowly lifting across central and southern parts of Scotland, perhaps lingering all day long. Otherwise, the rest of Scotland seeing light winds and plenty of sunshine. But elsewhere across the UK, overall pretty cloudy compared to recent days. The best sunny brightness across western parts of Wales and the very far southeast of England. But overall, a fairly cool and chilly day to come with a lot of cloud and temperatures around 6 or 7 degrees Celsius.
Warm and cosy, with a chance of zero visibility. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
We want to make the new year your best year yet, with a chance to win our greatest cash prize to date. A simply stunning £85,000 in tax-free cash could be yours. Treat the family to that bucket list holiday you've always fancied. Get your dream car you've always wanted. Or just relax, safe in the knowledge that the coming year is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, here at Holbrook Animal Rescue, they're being forced to relocate, and if they can't find a suitable alternative, they'll even be at risk of closing. And I've seen the amazing work that they've done here. Just earlier we met a dog called Essie who has just found her almost possible forever home literally in the time that we were here. She only came here a couple of days ago, so it's really great work that they do for all animals. Like this one here, this is Torn, he's just a puppy, and I'm also joined by Laura Santini, who runs the shelter. Tell us a bit about Torn here.
So this is just a little fellow that came in, no fault of his own. The people just couldn't cope with him. So he's lively and he's a half shepherd, half Labrador. What kind of impact would the possible relocation or even closure have on dogs like this one and all the other animals you have here? Well, simply that we wouldn't be able to take them. So if the next one comes up like this and we've got nowhere to go, then we just can't take them, obviously. So what happens to them at that point, I don't know, because we don't just take beautiful pups like this. We take the old and the sick and the dogs that other people don't necessarily want to take. So I can't imagine what would happen to some of them. So I don't know. It's sad. It's just a sad situation. And you've had quite a lot of support from the community here in trying to relocate. What's been there for you in terms of support? They're absolutely incredible. They've sent 1,000 letters into the council to try and support us and help us and let everyone see the light that, you know, you do actually need animal sanctuaries around. You can't shut them all down. We're always getting phone calls saying how much people like what we do and hope we get our planning appeal when it goes through and things like that.
GB News, the People's Channel.
It's 10 a.m. on Saturday, the 27th of December. Live across the United Kingdom, this is Saturday Morning Live.
Well, on the show today, Sir Keir Starmer's future is in doubt. That's what a top polling expert has said. He says May is crunch time for the Prime Minister, with his future determined by local elections. But spoiler, it's not looking good. Our other top story?
No chance. Whatever Mr. Trump and Mr. Zelensky may decide, I think it's a no-deal deal.
Yes, Trump and Zelensky, they're meeting tomorrow in Florida. The Ukrainian leader says that a deal is 90% there. You just heard from the top military commentator Robert Fox saying that it's highly unlikely. We'll talk to someone else close to Zelensky, a Ukrainian MP, to find out just how realistic the prospect of that deal is.
And some breaking news to bring you. The Ukrainian president says Russia has attacked his country with 500 drones and 40 missiles overnight.
Back at home, Sadiq Khan has reignited his war of words with Donald Trump. He says that the US president is jealous of the city's success. Is he right? We'll have a ferocious debate for you on that one.
Bigger stories, boldest opinions and liveliest debates over the next 2 hours. I'm Olivia Utley.
And I'm Charlie Peters, and your weekend starts here. We said that he's reignited that war of words, Olivia. It seems to me that Sadiq Khan and Donald Trump, they're always exchanging love letters pretty much every week,
I
aren't they?
quite enjoy this war of words. Donald Trump just cannot resist, can he? Even when he was over here on the state visit to the UK, really trying to butter up Keir Starmer. The two of them were getting on so well. And then at the end of a press conference, very friendly press conference, he just couldn't really resist a couple of little digs at the mayor of London. Sadiq Khan puts Keir Starmer in a really awkward position.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably priced in, isn't it? Whenever they're meeting, they just know he's going to do it. Go for that attack line. But of course, we want to know what you think. Send your views, post your comments, gbnews.com/your say. Whether you're a Londoner or if you come down to the city once or twice or even never a year, what do you think about how the capital is doing? Is Sadiq Khan the right man to be running our top city? Please do let us know.
But before we do anything else, Bethany LC has all your news headlines.
Thank you both. Good morning. I'm Bethany Elsey with your top stories at 2 minutes past 10. Ukraine was hit with a barrage of missiles overnight, destroying many homes and power plants, leaving a third of Kyiv without power. Ukraine's president says Russia fired nearly 500 drones and 40 missiles. It comes ahead of Presidents Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky meeting in Florida tomorrow. The two leaders are set to discuss details of the 20-point peace plan that is about 90% ready, according to Zelensky, who says he's ready to put the plan to his people in a referendum. But in an interview with Politico, Donald Trump says he will have to approve any deal. Thailand and Cambodia have agreed to a ceasefire to end weeks of fighting along their disputed border. As well as an end to military combat, the agreement includes plans for Thailand to repatriate 18 Cambodian soldiers. It's held since July. Around 100 people have been killed in the latest combat and more than 500,000 people displaced. The UK government is launching a gap year scheme to give school and college leavers a taste of the Army, Navy or RAF without a long-term commitment. The course is aimed at under 25s and is part of efforts to solve long-term recruitment and retention problems. Applications to be part of the first 150 recruits open in the spring before expanding to more than 1,000 per year. The placements of up to 2 years will be paid. One of the two men missing off the Devon coast following a Christmas Day swim has been named as Matthew Upham. The 63-year-old antiques dealer and another man in his 40s went missing after being swept out to sea in Budleigh Salterton. His family have paid tribute, saying they are heartbroken by the loss. 3 people are unaccounted for after a house fire in the early hours of Boxing Day. Emergency services were called to a property near Stroud in Gloucestershire at around 3 a.m. One other person was taken to hospital for treatment. Roads are closed on Brimscombe Hill while emergency services are at the scene and people are being asked to avoid the area. And England have won their first Ashes test on Australian soil for 15 years. They beat Australia by 4 wickets after chasing down 175 runs in the 4th test match in Melbourne. Australia still win the series, though, with an unassailable 3-1 lead. You're up to date. I'll have more for you in half an hour.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB Digital Radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Thank you, Bethany, and welcome back to Saturday Morning Live with Charlie Peters and me, Olivia Utley.
Now let's go to our top story today, because Sir Keir Starmer's future is set to be determined in May when councils across the UK hold elections, and that's according to pollster Lord Hayward.
He says that Labour are set for heavy losses in England council seats, defeat in the Welsh Senate and a battering in the Scottish Parliament.
Well, joining us now is the former Labour parliamentary candidate Kevin Craig. Good morning, Kevin. Thank you for joining us. This is bleak reading for the Labour leadership, isn't it? What can Sir Keir Starmer do to turn round his fortunes?
I think the job of the party for 2026 is just to deliver more change that people feel in their lives. And the funny thing is, in speech marks, that there's actually a lot of things the government are doing that are good. If you look at the NHS, primary schools, interest rates are falling, private investment into the country. But there's no denying that this poll and others to come will make grim reading for the party and the government. And it's a 5-year parliament. And I think the serious people in the Labour Party are very clear that it's just about getting their heads down, delivering and communicating properly, and just avoiding some of the sort of errors of the first year that just don't help anybody.
Unemployment is on the way up. We're seeing pubs closing pretty much every day. People are really still feeling the cost of living crisis bite. Might we see some more U-turns from the budget in the next few months ahead?
I think that the Chancellor gave us a budget which in the end brought stability to the international finance markets, and she's created a lot of headroom. I like to call U-turns an example of a government listening to finesse policy and get the finer details correct. And the government it understands, for example, the cost of living problem, that people have had more pay rises. If you're at the lower end of society, this government has been good for you. And the government is trying to do capitalism with a conscience. And I think that the government's got room to listen and adjust. But there is good news. Interest rates are continuing to fall. That makes mortgages cheaper. And private investment, £320 billion in the last year. So there is confidence in the way that this government's running the economy. But I'm not going to deny for 1 second that the cabinet and all the government ministers and a lot of MPs, they understand that the British people want more and they want it faster, and they are listening.
And Kevin, speaking about the cost of living, obviously it's a vital issue, but the number one most salient issue, and you look at most polling, is immigration. And a problem that the Labour Party has is it's drawn in several different directions. It can't quite be like reform, obviously. It doesn't want to be as strong on those policies, but it is losing votes quite heavily to the left, to the Lib Dems, and increasingly now to the Green Party, and of course all those independent candidates. He's in an impossible situation, isn't he, Sir Keir Starmer? He doesn't know what direction to go in.
Well, I think the situation is, not, I wouldn't say impossible, but it's challenging. And you're right that we're in, I think, in a new era of five-party politics, which this poll and others like it will show. I think the only way for Labour to win is the patriotic centre-left, which is neither of the extremes. And the Green Party, for example, I consider extreme on one end. You know, they don't like NATO. They want to abolish private landlords. The leader thinks you can enlarge women's breast size to the power of your mind. I could go on. And on the other side, you're right. Labour is really making a serious job of bringing down migration, whether it's the net migration total, which has fallen by 2/3, or showing that it doesn't mean you are uncaring about refugees if you want to secure our borders. And politics is challenging. You know, Labour has to try to remain humble. It won a large majority, but it was undeniably shallow. And the only way Labour's going to win again is to just get its head down and deliver from the centre-left, because I think that's where the British people are at, the patriotic centre-left.
You're clearly quite a staunch defender of the Prime Minister, Kevin. What would a good set of local election results look like in May? What would you hope to see, realistically?
That's a terrible question. I mean, look, my personal view is that the elections are going to be very difficult, with a lot of seats lost, not just by Labour, but also by the Conservative Party, who are defending from a very high base from last time. I think we should set expectations now really low. I think the elections will come in the first half of the year. I don't think people are going to start to feel the benefits to change their votes until much later in the year. And the Labour Party must just get on with the job, unite around the Prime Minister, the Chancellor and others. And if it carries on delivering and making slow but steady progress, in time that will pay dividends. But all the while, understanding that the British people know that it's doing so with a massive amount of humility, and it knows it has to do more faster. But the answer to your specific question is, I don't think these elections are going to be good for Labour, and I think we have to be clear about that now, because we are early into this Parliament and people are not feeling yet the benefits of the change they voted for.
I mean, thank you very much, Kevin. I guess we are 18 months into this Parliament now. It's not that early on anymore, but very interesting to see what a staunch defender of Keir Starmer has to say.
Yes, he said it was a terrible question. I think it was a rather good one, actually. And I think his answer was ace as well, any time. Particularly him saying, let's set the expectations low. And I think, you know, Kevin said there, he wants to, you know, bolster the patriotic centre-left, to push away from the extreme options. And obviously, Zach Polansky's not here to defend himself against several of those charges. But actually, I think the status quo is the extreme position. What we have right now is extreme. An indefensible border and energy costs double what they were 5 years ago. That's extreme.
It is quite interesting how some of these Labour former candidates just say that what Labour need to do is keep their head down and carry on delivering. Never quite know what delivering on what exactly. But that's what they've been doing for the last 18 months. It clearly isn't working. I would have thought it would be time for Labour to try something a bit different in 2026.
Change, perhaps, is the message, not keep the head down. We'll see. I mean, it's certainly a view, and we're keen to hear what you think, of course. GBNews.com/your say. Well, it's 12 minutes past 10. Let's move on now, because by this time tomorrow, there could be peace in Ukraine, as Volodymyr Zelensky is to meet the US President Donald Trump in Florida.
Yes, the Ukrainian leader says a deal is 90% there, and even floated the idea of a referendum in his country, comparing it to the Brexit vote. Since then, the US President has said he doesn't have anything until I approve it, so we'll have to see what he's got.
Well, earlier today, GB News spoke to top military commentator Robert Fox and got his thoughts on a potential deal.
No chance. Whatever Mr. Trump and Mr. Zelensky may decide, I think it's a no-deal deal.
Well, it's not sounding too good, is it? And we've got some more breaking news for you, because there's been another setback for those peace talks. Russia has attacked Ukraine with nearly 500 drones and 40 missiles overnight, targeting energy and civilian infrastructure.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said if Russia turns even the Christmas and New Year period into a time of destroyed homes and burned apartments, of ruined power plants, then this sick activity can only be responded to with truly strong steps.
Well, joining us now is the former British Army spokesperson, Major Mike Shearer. Major Mike, thanks very much for joining us. What's your reaction to the Robert Fox take that this is highly unlikely that we're going to have a deal over the line tomorrow?
I'm afraid I have to agree with Robert. Look, unless Trump has had a eureka moment recently, he will be trying to persuade Zelensky to cede territory. On the orders of Putin, by the way. Now, that is not a deal. That is a surrender. And I just think we must remember that Ukraine is a buffer state at the minute, fighting for its sovereignty, fighting for its democracy. And in the very same way, actually, that Israel is. Yet Trump takes a completely different view with Israel in the way that he does with Ukraine. And I just think that the West really need to lean in hard now and support Ukraine with everything that we have. They've just given them 90,000, I beg your pardon, yes, 90 billion euros, which is great. But the industrial heartland now that manufactures weapons, tanks, aircraft, etc., they really need to ramp that up, all of us, quite quickly. Now, Germany are doing that quite well, as are the Poles, as are the Baltic states. The UK, I'm afraid, are woefully lacking in this department.
What sort of reception can Zelensky expect to receive from Donald Trump? Obviously, we've come quite a long way since that dressing down in the Oval Office last February. But Zelensky is coming with a pretty punchy list of demands, really, from the US president. How can he expect to be treated? I
think Trump will be punchy and bullish, as he normally is. But look, imagine asking the United States to give back Alaska to Russia, which owned it previously. You cannot ask a country like Ukraine, a democracy, to give away its territory. That is giving in to bullies, which of course Putin is. And I just think that we in the West need to be a bit more bullish about supporting Ukraine than we currently are.
I suppose, Mike, one of the problems we have is that we can be as bullish as we like, but we rely so much on US military and security might to keep the continent broadly safe. But on that point, Zelensky's language is quite curious about what he expects from this deal. He's comparing it to Ukraine's Brexit moment, saying that he hasn't got the power to push through any deal. He needs to put it to a public vote. And the public perspective in Ukraine is absolutely rigid on this, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, the president has no mandate to give his country away to Putin. So it would have to, the constitution doesn't allow that. So he would have to go back. I think Zelensky is playing a good hand at the minute. So he will try his best to look like he wants to get the ceasefire. And of course he does, but it must be on reasonable terms. A halfway house perhaps would be to consider drawing green lines and said, okay, we are where we are. We are not giving you our country, but de facto, you are occupying it. De jure, i.e. in law, it's still Ukrainian. And they can wait that out till there's a new regime in Russia and hopefully gather it back. But the notion of just giving their country away, I'm sorry, I don't see that happening.
And Ukraine is actually doing quite well in the battles at the moment. Putin has suffered quite a few embarrassing setbacks. Is it sort of fair to say, very oversimplifying here, but that Ukraine would quite like to carry this war on for a little while longer while they have the upper hand, while Russia would like to see an end to it as quickly as possible? So in that sense, at least, Donald Trump is quite aligned with the Russian cause, wants to see an end to the war as soon as possible. And Zelensky's job is to try and persuade Europe that they should keep pumping money into this war.
I think there's quite a lot of truth in what you say. I mean, the top headline is Ukraine want the war to stop. They want their children back. I mean, Russia are holding hundreds of Ukrainian children. And I think before anything happens, Trump should be demanding that these Ukrainian children are returned to their families.
And Mike Shearer, we'll bring you some latest images right now in Ukraine after that attack overnight. It's curious, isn't it? We have so much political discussion and back and forth. I think a lot of people lose sight of the fact that civilians are coming under regular bombardment in Ukraine, in Europe, while this is all going on. Do you get the sense, perhaps, that a lot of Ukrainians watching this diplomatic tussle in the West, these public discussions about how much can we support this neighbour on our continent, they find it enormously dispiriting?
Well, of course it is. It is never pleasant when you're being bombed, and it is dispiriting. Look, at some level, Trump can be accused of being complicit in this war going on. What they need to do is lean in. Trump needs to lean in for democracy and give Ukraine what they need to win the war, not just what they need to stay alive another day. He said every day that passes, this could have been finished months ago if only the United States were to be a bit more favorable with Ukraine. And let's not forget, this war was started by Putin. And the terrible disgrace of the United States and the United Kingdom, who signed the Budapest Agreement in 1994, that agreement of security and respect and sovereignty for Ukraine. And we both watched idly by as Putin invaded Ukraine. We have a huge responsibility, the United States and the United Kingdom, and I'm afraid both of those countries are not doing anywhere near enough.
Well, thank you very much, Major Mike Shearer, formerly of the British Army.
Yeah, thanks for your time, Major Mike. Right, still to come. Is Sadiq Khan the right man? And is he right that London is the envy of the world?
But next, how does a gap year spent in the military sound? That's the latest proposal.
This is Saturday Morning Live on GB News, Britain's #1 news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
So this is a lovely story because it's about a chap who bought this DB5 and he bought it for 900 quid. This is an Aston Martin DB5.
It's a lovely car.
Bought it for 900 quid. And then for 50 years, pretty much didn't do very much. He moved to the Middle East, car left was on his driveway, things happened, the local kids jumped on it and various other things, and it just decayed. He has spent pretty much the big wodge of 400 grand having it done.
Do we have a picture of this car now?
Oh, I thought as I was waffling. Well, I can hold it up. But this is how it looks now. There we go. This is how it looked then and now. I don't know which.
So he spent 400 grand on this.
400 grand. He sent it back to Aston Martin.
Oh.
To where it was made, and the reason it's worth now about $1 million is because there were only 37, I think,
39
of them made, and so it's very rare. There we go. Well done, him.
Pretty penny on that. Good for him.
Yeah. Yes, and good for him.
He hasn't made it yet.
No, he hasn't made it. It's just worth. I know. He may.
I was reading a story about a man who'd spent £1 million on a DB5, and it's now worth 500,000. But they hit a peak a couple of years ago. But who knows? Who knows?
But don't you want to be spending on a car in order to use it, not to sell it?
Well,
I had a car like that. I drive it.
Yeah, of course. No, then that's what he's not selling it. He's worked hard. He said we've worked hard to get it
it's a work of art.
Reconditioned, and he loves it.
I wonder, does it have machine guns and things they're going to...
Oh no, weirdly it says no.
Or an ejector
no ejector seat, exactly. Or any of those other things. Yeah.
GB News, the People's Channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. You're watching and listening to Saturday Morning Live with Charlie Peters and Olivia Utley.
Yes, let's see what you've been saying on gbnews.com/your say.
Got you ready? I've got Mary Poppins here.
Great.
How cowardly to state before Christmas that they're raising inheritance tax to 2.5 million. Reeves needs to go along with Starmer. I thought they were dropping inheritance tax. But there we go. Mary Poppins, perhaps not the best informed. But please stay in touch, Mary. Want to hear more. And are you kidding, says London. This is about Sadiq Khan saying it's still the best. We used to visit once or twice a year, take in a show, have a meal, bit of shopping. But now we would not go to London. Too dangerous. Is London too dangerous, Olivia?
I think if you come from outside of London and you spent a day in London, you would find it. We're so used to it, I think. We've become immune to the sort of bike thefts, the stealing phones. We've become immune to, you know, a steak having to be locked in a plastic box in Tesco because otherwise someone will steal it, people jumping over the barriers. I think if you come from the country and you come into London for a day, you probably would find it quite alarming.
The low-level crime is really bad, but... people, I think, perhaps overstate how dangerous it is in terms of extreme violence.
Yes, and actually, if you look at the statistics, extreme violence
Washington is
on the decline.
and it's way worse in the US than it is here. I think Washington, D.C. is 26 times more likely, has a higher murder rate than London. So,
but Washington, D.C., I mean, that's a tough comparison, isn't it?
It's their capital.
It is their capital. That's very true. I've really stitched up Charlie here because he had loaded up his Your Says. I had not. But I am on Christmas Day once here, which was the last time I was on it. And I really enjoyed this. While Starmer delivering that Christmas speech from a morgue. So thank you to whoever sent that in on Christmas Day. That made me laugh.
2-day late reaction, but it's a solid one.
There you go.
Right, we're joined in the studio now by our wonderful panel for the paper reviews. It's Judita De Silva and Candice Holdsworth. And we're starting, aren't we, with this government launching a gap year scheme to give school and college leavers a taste of military life. Judita, your view?
It's interesting because they're being very conservative in the rollout, where they're thinking that it's going to be a first catchment of only 150, and they hope it will expand to over 1,000 in years to come. It's an entry-level thing that you do either before you go into university, during university, or just immediately after, and it ranges from 13 weeks to up to a year for the Navy, the RAF, and soldiers, and it's basically meant to give you a taste of armed force life. While it seems like it's kind of a desperate move because in this rise in the Russia threat, they need to bolster the numbers in the armed forces, I think it's potentially very beneficial because, take for instance, if you look at young men, whether it's your son, your brother, your uncles, whoever, playing computer games, they have exceptional hand-eye coordination. They're very good at concentrated periods of time looking at screens. And they say the future of battle and future of war is going to be done at a distance with drones, with technology. You are cultivating a generation that is predisposed to be very good in that area. So if you introduce them to the armed force life and tell them you have a talent that's tailored to the kind of battle we will be engaging in the future, you've got something successful.
That's a really fascinating perspective, something I have not heard before. What an interesting thought, the idea that these computer games, which are all trying to keep our children away from, could actually be very
watch them play Call of Duty and say, wait a second, if I put them in front of a drone screen to control them, they're already predisposed to be good at that.
Candice, do we need more video gamers on the front lines? I thought it's worth. I think you're wrong. What we've just seen in Ukraine is trench warfare. It feels like we're going back to the First World War. It's not video games, it's rough and tough, it's mud, it's vicious, it's bayonets, really, not drones.
But when you look at the kind of war they do
let's bring in Candice. Sorry, Candice, what's your perspective?
So I find this whole thing very interesting because what we know from Gen Z, which is a little bit sad, is they're struggling to find their purpose. Anxiety and depression is very high amongst this generation. They've done a lot of polling showing that they wouldn't go and fight for their country. There's a lack of patriotism. And I think it's because they feel in some way that the system isn't working for them. And I think that that's a reversal with older generations who are generally very optimistic when they're young, whereas we're seeing a lot of pessimism with the young. I mean, when I was much younger, often boys who were struggling to find their purpose would go into the military, and it sorted them out, and it was really good for them. So potentially it could be really good in that respect.
What do you think it would do for we've got a recruitment and retainment problem in our armed forces. I mean, obviously the idea of giving people a taste without long-term commitment, you should have people realising that either it is for them or it's not for them, not going into it and then quitting after a year or so. But I suppose the risk is that you could introduce people to the armed forces too young and they could be put off for the rest of their lives. How do you think it could play out?
I think it's at the point of desperation that the country's in now, it's a risk worth taking. And I do agree that what drives a lot of people is the lack of purpose, the lack of motivation. But you've got to get them through the door in the first place to introduce them to the environment. And some people will take to it and some will not. It's a question of seeing how it rolls out over the thing. But then the point you made about the kind of war it is, when you look at successful countries, Russia, America, what drives a lot of that is intelligence. That is stuff that is done at a distance. The best kind of warfare is preemptive warfare. When you train a whole catchment of people to engage the kind of intelligence that's needed, that before the enemy strikes know what they're going to do, you've got the kind of generation that would be excellent at that sort of thing. So appeal to their strengths and that would get more of them through the door.
The Chief of the Armed Forces says that more families need to recognise that they will be making sacrifices for the country, you know, getting ready to do combat. Britain is on a war footing, and this sort of proposal, while it's very small, we need all the help we can get as a nation, surely, to get more people through the door of those recruiting stations.
I wonder why we're struggling with that, though. Why are people saying that they don't want to fight for their country?
I think the thing is, there's nothing going on. There's no fighting. That one of the best years for recruitment was the bloodiest summer in Helmand.
Yeah.
I think people aren't seeing the military doing this sort of stuff, so they're not signing up. Perhaps a war would help with recruitment.
Maybe. Do you know what? When I've spoken to young guys, though, in their 20s, they all say, if Britain was under threat of invasion, I would go and fight. Maybe this conflict just seems too abstract for them.
I think you're right.
But also, I do think that in other countries, there's something that happens that doesn't happen here, which is they call it Youth Corps in Africa and also in the Far East, where it's obligatory you do army training at a certain age. So even had famous people like the band BTS had to take a break because they had to go and do training. Do that here.
Right, well, we'll get into the conscription chat later. I think that might be coming up. But thank you, Juditha and Candice. Still to come, we've got a feisty debate ahead of you on Sadiq Khan.
But first, your latest news headlines from Bethany Elsing.
Thank you both. Good morning. The headlines from the GB newsroom. Russia strikes Ukraine with around 500 drones and 40 missiles overnight, leaving hundreds of thousands without power ahead of a meeting between the US and Ukrainian presidents in Florida tomorrow. Thailand and Cambodia have agreed to a ceasefire to end weeks of fighting along their disputed border, in which 100 people were killed and more than 500,000 displaced. A gap year scheme to give school and college leavers under the age of 25 a taste of the Army, Navy or RAF without a long-term commitment will take recruits in the spring. And England have won their first Ashes Test down under for 15 years after beating Australia by 4 wickets in the 4th Test in Melbourne. You're up to date. More for you at 11 o'clock.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Thank you, Bethany. And still to come, a row has broken out at the British Museum over patriotism and flags.
But next, is Sadiq Khan right that London is the envy of the world? We have a ferocious debate on that, including with Charlie Mullins, who's not the Mayor's biggest fan.
This is Saturday Morning Live on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning and welcome to your latest GB News weather update from the Met Office. It's a bit of a role reversal out there today. If you saw the sunshine yesterday, you're likely going to be seeing quite a lot of cloud today, but for some of us at least there will be some sunshine by this afternoon. It's a damp and drizzly start to the day though across some eastern and northeastern parts of Scotland. Bits and pieces of light rain drizzle pushing southeastwards into northeast England by this afternoon as well. So the best of the sunshine tend to become confined to southern, southwestern parts of England, western parts of Wales, parts of Northern Ireland and western Scotland by this afternoon. Quite cloudy elsewhere and breezy in places, particularly in the south, so temperatures of 7 to 9 degrees, but feeling colder when you factor in the breeze. Now the rain should generally start to clear away from northeastern Scotland by this afternoon and this evening, so turning to turn a little bit dry here. Perhaps some patchy fog developing as we go through this evening, but generally largely dry by 5 o'clock. A mixture of cloud and clear spells across Northern Ireland to end the day, but overall many parts of England and Wales will be fairly grey to end this evening. There'll be some late clear spells across western parts of Wales and the very far southwest, but even here, as we go through the course of this evening, the cloud is likely to arrive. So bits and pieces of light drizzle, perhaps working southwards across parts of Wales and southern England into the early hours. So a much milder night to come across England, Wales and Northern Ireland compared to last night, largely frost-free. But for Scotland, clear skies here, so a widespread frost developing and some patchy, dense, freezing fog by the end of the night, particularly in the central belt. That means it will be a grey start to the day on Sunday for some of us. The fog only very slowly lifting across central and southern parts of Scotland, perhaps lingering all day long. Otherwise, the rest of Scotland seeing light winds and plenty of sunshine. But elsewhere across the UK, overall pretty cloudy compared to recent days. The best sunny brightness across western parts of Wales and the very far southeast of England. But overall, a fairly cool and chilly day to come with a lot of cloud and temperatures around 6 or 7 degrees Celsius.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Welcome back. You're watching and listening to Saturday Morning Live with Charlie and Olivia.
Right, now the Mayor of London, he's attacked populists, claiming that they are going after London because it's progressive and successful.
Yes, Sadiq Khan has labelled those on the right of British politics as unpatriotic for trying to tear down London, and claims US President Donald Trump is continually attacking the capital because he's jealous he hasn't got any global cities the US that he can compete with in the US.
Yeah, New York City, tiny gaff. What is he saying? Goodness me. Right, well, joining us now is the businessman Charlie Mullins and the political commentator Aisha Ali Khan. Good morning to you both. Right. Merry festive period. Hope you're both wonderfully happy and all. Let's get into a row about London and Sadiq Khan, shall we? Charlie, what's your reaction to what Sadiq Khan has said?
Well, it's a stupid comment from him. He's the one that's ruined London. Donald Trump clearly has found the fella out there. He's a liar. He's a waste of time. He's made London probably one of the worst cities in the world, but he denies it. He's ruined businesses by the emission zone. He's ruined businesses, nightlife, because of increase of costs and the safety. And, you know, to come up with that Donald Trump is jealous over Sadiq Khan is absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, Charlie's right, isn't he, Aisha? London doesn't feel like it's the envy of the world. Nightlife's bad. High streets are struggling. What's good about London at the moment?
Oh my God, London is an amazing city. It's one of the best cities ever. And I was in London literally a few weeks ago. I understand that some people are not happy with the way things have, obviously crime and so on, but we have had a reduction in crime. We have had people, the visitors and so on. And look, Sadiq Khan was voted in for a historic third term only like a year and a half ago, May last year. So it's wrong to say that Sadiq Khan is ruining London or is causing all these problems. If anything, it's basically the last 14 years of the cuts to the police and so on that have resulted in this increase in crime, not just in London, but across the UK in general. So it's wrong to just blame Sadiq Khan for all of these wrongs going on right now.
I'm going to make you wrong. You're an actress, lady, and you don't run a business in London. And believe me, to run a business in London and trying to move around London with all the cycle lanes, with all the road closures, with all the additional costs, believe me, he's ruined London. He's ruined many businesses. And he will continue to do it. I mean, with the places rammed out with cycle lanes that are empty most of the time, the cost to come into London for tradesmen today just isn't worth it. Isn't worth opening up a business. Yes, I have a business there, We Fix London. Unfortunately, I opened that up before Labour government got in. But other than that, I wouldn't trade in London. It's just made it a no-go area. You cannot even walk about with your telephone in your hand. You cannot wear a good watch. Women cannot walk about on their own daytime and evening time. I'm not sure why.
That's not true, Charlie. That's absolutely not true.
Don't be rude. Let me finish. Don't be rude. What I was saying is that people like yourself are oblivious to what's going on in London. I mean, I've got all these people coming on to me saying, you keep knocking London, Charlie. I'm not knocking London. I'm being truthful about it. It's a dangerous city.
OK, Charlie.
Right. Every chance.
Let's bring in Aisha, because Aisha, he's got a point, hasn't he? Because street crime in London is very high. Murder might be low as an average when you compare it to US cities. We do have a problem with theft, with shoplifting, and that low-level criminality that does blight London as a global city.
I'm going to refer back to what I just said literally a few minutes ago. First of all, Charlie, I'm actually a teacher and I'm not an actress. London has seen an issue around people stealing phones and so on, but that's not directly because of Sadiq Khan. This is because we just don't have enough police officers on the beat. We don't have enough numbers to go around to patrol the streets and so on like we used to before. Also, when somebody reports a theft, what happens? Nothing. There's no follow-up because, again, the police are absolutely snowed under with lots of other crimes. So, I mean, look, I understand what you've said, Charlie, about people visiting and so on. You can't drive and so on. But these are to make these ULS charges and so on rules are to make London safer in terms of our breathing, the air quality, and reducing illnesses like asthma and so on. So there's always going to be give and take. But London is, I mean, it's one of the centres, financial centres of the world. People are investing, people are coming, people are visiting, people are, spending money. So it's wrong to say that London is a no-go area. When I went, literally a few weeks ago, I walked around on my own, Charlie. I didn't have a bodyguard with me. I didn't have any other people with me. I was on my own. I walked all over London on my own during the day and at night time, and nothing happened to me. And there's so many other people. If you just go online, Charlie, please don't interrupt. Please don't interrupt. Don't be rude. Thank you. So many people visit London. You just need to go online, and all of them have had a great experience. So this idea, this myth that London is a no-go zone, it's like the Bronx, people are being shot, people are being stabbed. It's just not true. And it's actually talking down London. It's talking people out of visiting London.
Let's let Charlie have a word in there. I mean, Aisha has a point, doesn't she, in that Sadiq Khan did win just 18 months ago. It was a historic third-term victory. If he's so dreadful and he's ruining London, why do people keep voting for him?
Well, I think he's got a situation now where he's sort of got the type of voters that Labour want with them. You know, they don't want anybody to get on. They want a socialist society. London has become a lawlessness society. You've got looting going on. You've got crime going on. And he's the one that's running the police. And you're saying is that we don't have enough police on the ground, which is correct. But if a crime gets committed in London now, police are not going to come out. It's become a lawlessness city. And you're laughing and smiling, but you say you went out there the other day, but you don't live there. I've lived in there for probably 60 years, right? And it's changed and changed all the time. And unfortunately, I'm still a resident in the UK. So all the busybodies on here saying to me, you should have an opinion.
Charlie Mullins, why do you think so many Americans are now seeking citizenship in Britain, and why are they coming to London? If you think it's so dreadful and Donald Trump thinks it's so awful, why are they all relocating to London? I live in London. I think it's a great city, and I agree with Sadiq Khan that it has problems it needs to fix about street crime and all the rest of it. But it's still one of the greatest cities on earth, and lots of Americans clearly want to move here.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, you say it's one of the greatest cities in the world. I mean, the crime rate's gone up, the stabbings have gone up, you've got looting going on, you've got sexual attacks going on, and I've got people like you telling me it's a great city. Well, if it's a great city, you lot live there. I mean,
I do. I just told you I do live here, Charlie. Sorry,
no,
goodness me.
But you're running away with it. You said, why do Americans go there? I believe they're going there now, or they're buying property because of the drop in property prices. But I'll ask you the question: why are millions of Brits leaving for Dubai, Spain, Monaco and various other places? Why are they leaving then, if it's such a great place?
Well, I think people are leaving Britain for loads of reasons. Tax, cost of living, all the rest of it. But London is still thriving. London, Charlie Mullins, obviously. Otherwise it would be empty. It's not. It's still thriving.
I'll tell you what, for a newsreader, you're just talking rubbish. You're absolutely rubbish. London is thriving. Are you having a laugh?
I think we should take...
No, I live here. I love
Charlie,
it.
calm down.
You've got all the homeless people on the streets. You've got all the high streets shut. You've got people scared to go out at night. And businesses can't hardly survive.
I think Charlie Mullins... Charlie, I'm going to stand up for you here. It feels like everyone's ganging up on you. Aisha, I think Charlie Mullins has a right point here that doing business in London, trying to trade in London is really, really difficult because of all those traffic restrictions that Sadiq Khan has brought in. There are LTNs. It's impossible to get around London because of ULEZ. We're trying to renovate a house at the moment. Just getting people to able to park outside our house, decorators, plumbers, etc., to park outside our house is almost impossible. Don't you think Sadiq Khan has gone a little bit far with some of these green moves, which have basically brought London to a standstill?
Well, exactly. You've got LTNs.
That was for Aisha.
You have all these rules, like we have we have ULEZ and so on coming into Bradford soon. We've got the same kind of rules in Birmingham, in Manchester and so on. But just one thing, Charlie, I wanted to point out, there's actually more crime happening in Manchester, but nobody's talking about Andy Burnham. Nobody's mentioning Andy Burnham. They're not talking about, you know, how he's doing a bad job and so on. So it's really funny that everybody seems to be picking on Sadiq Khan. And you've left England. You don't even pay enough tax. So you talk about homelessness, you talk about vulnerable people, you talk about people that need support, but you don't even pay tax anymore in England. You've literally removed yourself.
I've got no
and you're
tax
living
to
in
pay,
Spain
lady.
right now.
Why would I pay tax
and you don't even, if you
pay
really cared about making a difference, Charlie, you would be here. You would be trying to make everything better, and you'll be contributing your fair share as well.
Yeah,
but you
not at
don't.
all. Okay,
so you
cool.
can't sit in sunny Spain
Yes,
or
I
wherever
can.
you are, Dubai, whatever, and
I'm not
complain
prepared to
about a
put-
country that you
I'm
don't
not-
even contribute and you don't even
Take a
live
breath.
in. And please don't interrupt. That's rude.
All right,
Okay,
you two.
look, I'm not prepared to put any more money into the UK for people that are.
So stop talking about the UK then. Stop talking about Sadiq
No, it's
Khan.
my
Stop talking
turn.
about
Don't be rude.
London.
Right, businessman Charlie
not prepared
Mullins
to
and
contribute.
political commentator, not actress, Aisha Ali Khan. I'll let you two continue this on a Zoom link elsewhere, I think, but we have to wrap it up here. Thank you very much for your time this morning.
Well, we promised you a ferocious debate, and I think that we absolutely got it.
I get what Charlie Mullins is saying. Of course, like, London is in dire straits in a lot of ways. Street crime is a problem. What you're talking about with ULEZ, people coming into the city, it is a problem. But it's still a great city, and these are problems we can fix.
It's a great city. I think the question is it still a great city in spite of Sadiq Khan or because of him? And I think, do let us know what you think about that. Could it be an even greater city if Sadiq Khan didn't have anything to do with it? But still to come, we'll be joined by a top flag expert on a British Museum row. But first, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast for some of the top European holiday destinations.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, if you're off to the Eastern Med or Italy over the next few days for a New Year break, it'll be often sunny and dry, but much more unsettled towards the Western Med, particularly across Iberia, with some areas of low pressure bringing in some heavy rain, some strong gusty winds as well, and some mountain snow. Heavy snow on Saturday and into Sunday across the Pyrenees and Andorra. The showers clearing away from Sicily, leaving most of Italy and Greece fine and sunny, but there will be some heavy snow across parts of northern Turkey, otherwise a fine outlook elsewhere.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is...
You're
the failure is...
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Britain was once the envy of the world. But look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m, only on GB News.
Decisions made in Washington aren't just shaping America, they're shaping Britain too. From migration to global security, from crime to health. Whatever happens in the White House today
will be felt in your town or city tomorrow.
That's why The Late Show is live from Washington, D.C.
Cutting through the politics to show you what it all means for Britain.
The Late Show live every night at midnight.
Only on GB News,
Britain's news channel.
To Saturday Morning Live. Now, some infighting has broken out within the British Museum over its director suggesting to host a red, white and blue themed ball.
Yes, museum staff pushed back after they deemed the idea inappropriate following the Operation Raise the Colours campaign, which took place this year.
Well, joining us now is the former Conservative MP and also the former chair of the Flags and Heraldry Committee, Henry Smith. Good morning, Henry. Thanks for joining us. What do you make of this row? Because it seems like a lot of people in the British Museum are very nervous about associating with the flag of Britain.
Well, first of all, I think anyone working for an institution with the word British in the title should think very carefully about where perhaps they want to be working if they're uncomfortable with that. I think it's ridiculous that people should balk and be concerned about a red, white and blue theme. We should be proud of our national flag. We have a very proud heritage and history as a country. That flag stands for so much good, both in this country and around the world. And really, we need to get over this obsession that some sort of liberal left individuals have in terms of being triggered by the national flag, which around the world is hugely respected.
I mean, the thing about this particular story is that the director of the British Museum wants to have this red, white and blue themed ball, not just because of the Union Jack, but also because of the French tricolore. The idea is that you have the flags of the two the colours of the two flags because of the loan of the Bayeux Tapestry. It does seem a particularly bizarre thing to be offended about because it's not even really about the Union Jack itself.
Well, presumably those people who are concerned about celebrating the theme of the Union Jack aren't concerned about celebrating the theme of the French tricolour. That's how ridiculous those who are objecting to this are. And I would suggest that many of the staff at the British Museum should be more concerned and spend more time on working against theft from the British Museum, which has been a real problem in recent years of some artefacts, rather than worrying about the colour theme of a fundraising ball.
Henry, now, one of the concerns that sources have told the Guardian newspaper about this issue is that they have this association with Raise the Colours, and that they're saying it's a far-right process. We've seen people showing the Union Jack all over the country. I mean, what do you make of that, the association with the national flag as being potentially linked to the far right in some way?
Well, look, the national flag of the United Kingdom and indeed the constituent parts, whether that be the St George's Cross of England or the St Andrew's Cross of Scotland and the Welsh Dragon and so forth, all of those belong to all of the citizens of this country. Our national flag is not and should not be associated with any particular political element. And I think it is perfectly normal and right and a good thing for people to display the national flag on their residence, on their cars, wherever they want to do so. I think that is something that is commonplace in most countries around the world. Go to the United States and you'll see the Stars and Stripes flying everywhere. Also, across much of Europe as well, people are very proud, rightly so, to display their national flags. It should be no different here. And this sort of trying to appropriate our national flag and be ashamed of it and try to sort of assign it to some sort of far right agreement is just ridiculous.
OK, Henry Smith, thank you very much for that.
A British Museum spokesperson has said the inaugural ball was a landmark moment in the museum's history that secured over £2.5 million in vital funding for the international partnerships.
We are excited to follow up this year's success with a ball in autumn 2026, and we'll announce more details in due course. Lots more coming up on Saturday Morning Live today, including...
Lots more of today's top stories, the Ukrainian peace talk and Gen Z's cavalier attitude to drink driving. Don't go anywhere.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, here's your latest weather update from the Met Office for GB News. Over the next few days we'll see a lot of dry, albeit often fairly cloudy weather, and staying pretty chilly at times too for the time of year. We've got high pressure centred towards the north and northwest of the UK. That's feeding our air in from the east and northeast, quite brisk winds, particularly across the south of the UK today, and a fairly chilly direction from the east or northeasterly direction as well. So heading into this afternoon, a lot of cloud feeding in on that easterly flow across the north and east of the UK. Bits and pieces of patchy light rain or drizzle in places, whereas towards the south and west it's a brighter picture with some sunshine at times across Scotland too. Quite a keen wind though blowing, especially across the south, so although temperatures generally close to average today at 5 to 9 Celsius, feeling much colder out and about, especially across the south of the UK. So to end the day across the north of the UK, we'll see some clear weather across parts of Scotland, some cloud across the southern part of Scotland, but towards the north, some early clear spells as we go into the evening. A few cloud breaks across parts of Northern Ireland too, and then we head into thicker cloud across northern England, thick enough in places to give 1 or 2 patches of light rain or drizzle. Quite a bit of cloud across central and southern England and parts of Wales, but notice out towards the west and across some far southwestern parts of the UK, a few cloud breaks developing at times. As we head into the overnight period, then we'll see quite a lot of cloud across England and Wales. Again, the best of the breaks out towards the far west and southwest. Cloud thick enough in places to give the odd spot of rain, especially across some hilltops. And always the clearest skies across parts of Scotland, locally across parts of Northern Ireland too. Turning quite frosty across Scotland. We could see 1 or 2 freezing fog patches by Sunday morning, but mostly frost-free towards the south under that cloud shield. So into Sunday then, the fog and frost across the north of the UK will only slowly clear in places, leaving some sunshine on Sunday. Across England and Wales, a lot of cloud around. Again, the best of the sunshine out towards the west and southwest. It's a mostly dry picture though on Sunday, and notice later in the day we'll start to see some clear weather coming into the southeast, with temperatures close to average at best, but still quite chilly across parts of Scotland there.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to become our biggest cash prize winner to date. £85,000 in totally tax-free cash could be making its way from our bank account to yours. It would be like having over £7,000 per month extra to play with each month for a whole year. That could be you, safe in the knowledge that 2026 is on us. For another chance to win £85,000 cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB18 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 30th of January. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
I'm Michelle Dewberry, this is Jubes & Co with you.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christie is here. GB News, Britain's news channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection. Tune in to GB News, anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline.
Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
It's 11 a.m. on Saturday, the 27th of December, live across the United Kingdom. This is Saturday Morning Live.
Today on the show, Donald Trump is to meet Volodymyr Zelensky tomorrow in Florida. The Ukraine leader says a deal is 90% there. The top military commentator Robert Fox was speaking on GB News earlier, saying that he thinks it's highly unlikely. We'll talk to someone close to Zelensky to find out just how realistic the prospect of peace is.
Yes, the Ukrainian president has said that Russia has attacked his country with 400 drones and 40 missiles overnight. And some more breaking news just in. Zelensky is in the air right now, heading to North America.
He'll meet the Canadian Prime Minister before Donald Trump. Stay with us for the latest lines on that.
And in royal news, newly released files reveal that Princess Diana was described by officials as by far the more predatory and skilled operator in the media battle she waged against the then Prince Charles in the 1990s.
And were you lucky enough to grab a Boxing Day bargain, or were you one of the increasing number of people to shun the high street? Our very own Doogie Beattie is out and about meeting shoppers today.
Day 2 of the Christmas sales. Are those footfall numbers up or down? Are they in the cities or in big retail parks? We'll have more throughout the programme.
And Gen Z has got a more relaxed attitude to drink driving, according to a new survey. We'll be speaking to one of them.
The biggest stories, boldest opinions and liveliest debates over the next hour. I'm Olivia Utley.
And I'm Charlie Peters, and your weekend starts here.
So if you were watching before the break, you'll have seen that ferocious debate we had between Charlie Mullins and Aisha Ali Khan about the state of London. And Charlie and I have been disagreeing about it a little bit over the break here too. We both live in London. Charlie's a big fan.
I'm a big fan. I love London, but I want it to be better. And I know that it's got problems, and I don't think Sadiq Khan is the man to fix them, but it's still a great city. There's a reason why so many people move here. It's just frustrating knowing that it could be better. Graffiti on the tube, all the low-level criminality, the theft, the shoplifting, I hate all of it, but I do reckon it can be fixed, and what is great can be even greater.
I agree. I mean, there are great elements of London. Before I had a child, I would have 100% agreed with Charlie that London is a wonderful, fantastic place to be in. Yes, it's got its problems, but they can be overcome. Now I have a child, and I think I might feel it even more if I had a daughter. You really see just how dangerous it feels. It is scary going out at night. I wouldn't want my son to be walking around London late at night. You hear so many awful stories about muggings, about worse crimes taking place too on the streets. And I know it is true that really serious crime is on the way down, but that feel of just low-level crime makes the city feel unsafe.
Totally understand. I do think it's bad in London, it's bad in Manchester, it's bad in Bradford, where Aisha Ali Khan was joining us with her views on our capital. It's bad all over the country in our cities.
And as you say, it's bad in Washington, D.C.
Absolutely,
as well.
you have Donald Trump to say that. Yeah, you're much safer in London than you are in DC, even though our low-level crime is still a big issue. But let us know your views. I'm sure you will. gbnews.com/your say. When did you last come to the capital? Are you avoiding it? Do you feel safe when you're in town? Let us know.
But before we do anything else, Bethany Elsey has all your news headlines.
Thank you both. Good morning. Your top stories at 3 minutes past 11. Ukraine was hit with a barrage of missiles overnight, destroying many homes and power plants, leaving a third of Kyiv without power. Ukraine's president says Russia fired nearly 500 drones and 40 missiles. It comes ahead of a meeting between Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky in Florida tomorrow. They're set to discuss details of a 20-point peace plan that's about 90% ready, according to Zelensky, who says he's ready to put the plan to his people in a referendum. But in an interview with Politico, Donald Trump says he will have to approve any deal. Thailand and Cambodia have agreed to a ceasefire to end weeks of fighting along their disputed border, as well as an end to military combat. The agreement includes plans for Thailand to repatriate 18 Cambodian soldiers it's held since July. Around 100 people have been killed in the latest combat and more than 500,000 people displaced. The UK government is launching a gap year scheme to give school and college leavers a taste of the Army, Navy or RAF without a long-term commitment. The course is aimed at under 25s and is part of efforts to solve long-term recruitment and retention problems. Applications to be part of the first 150 recruits opens in the spring, before expanding to more than 1,000 per year. One of the two men missing off the Devon coast following a Christmas Day swim has been named as Matthew Upham. The 63-year-old antiques dealer and another man in his 40s went missing after being swept out to sea in Budleigh Salterton. His family have paid tribute, saying they are heartbroken by the loss. 3 people are unaccounted for after a house fire in the early hours of Boxing Day. Emergency services were called to a property near Stroud in Gloucestershire at around 3 a.m. yesterday. 1 other person was taken to hospital for treatment. Roads are closed on Brimscombe Hill while emergency services are at the scene and people are being asked to avoid the area. And England have won their first Ashes test on Australian soil for 15 years. They beat Australia by 4 wickets after chasing down 175 runs in the 4th test match in Melbourne. Australia still win the series, though, with an unassailable 3-1 lead. You're up to date. More for you at 11:30.
For all the latest from GB News whilst you're on the go, get the GB News app. Scan the QR code now to download or visit gbnews.com/app.
Thank you, Bethany, and welcome back to Saturday Morning Live with Charlie Peters and me, Olivia Utley.
Well, this time tomorrow there could be peace in Ukraine as Volodymyr Zelensky is set to meet US President Donald Trump in Florida.
Yes, the Ukrainian leader says a deal is 90% there and even floated the idea of a referendum in his country, comparing it to the Brexit vote.
Since then, the US president has said that he doesn't have anything until I approve it, referring to Zelensky. Quote, so we'll see what he's got.
Well, earlier, GB News spoke to top commentator Robert Fox and got his thoughts on a potential deal.
The Deputy Foreign Minister, more or less, has said on Christmas Eve, Catholic Christmas Eve, no chance. A deal was done in Alaska, I didn't hear that, where we gave the ultimatum, these are our terms for redesigning the whole of defence and security architecture for Europe. So there's a funny old mood going off in the Kremlin right now. So whatever Mr. Trump and Mr. Zelensky may decide, I think it's a no-deal deal, and it will go on.
Well, overnight, Russia has attacked Ukraine with nearly 500 drones and 40 missiles, targeting energy and civilian infrastructure.
And some more breaking news, Justin. Zelensky is in the air right now, heading to North America. He'll meet the Canadian Prime Minister before Donald Trump in Florida.
And Zelensky says that Ukraine has its red lines, but is sure compromise can be found. He's also said that Ukraine cannot have a referendum in the current security conditions. It needs stronger security guarantees. The country needs more air defence missiles as Russia is attacking with drones and missiles, as we've seen overnight.
Yes, and Zelensky also says that Putin's demand for Ukrainian, as in Russia, to vote would delegitimise the elections. Well, the member of the Ukrainian parliament and leader of political party Golos, Kira Rudik, joins us now. Kira, How close are we to a peace deal?
Hello, Charlie. Hello, Olivia, and thank you so much for having me. Merry Christmas. Well, unfortunately, we are trying not to get our hopes up here in Kiev because we are in a very dire situation. The attack this night was really devastating. It felt like Armageddon. And right now, about 1/3 of 4 million people city is without electricity, without heating. As an example, I do not have running water. I do not have heat in my home. And there are so many people who are struggling right now with the really bad weather conditions. Especially that this attack, it doesn't have like really any military purpose for Russia because it doesn't happen at the front line. But they're trying to destroy our energy infrastructure, to bring havoc, to bring disappointment, to use weather as weapons on Ukraine. So on the deal that President Zelensky is going to discuss with President Trump, it is critical that Ukraine proves that we are not on the way to peace. That was one of the obstacles to real negotiations because President Trump was trying to turn his eye back and say, well, maybe it's Ukraine doesn't want peace, which is completely untrue. We want peace more than anybody else, and we are ready to discuss and negotiate. Unfortunately, Russia still doesn't feel enough pressure from the partners to be ready to end the war. And we see that they have no intention to end the war right now. So any ideas that European partners and American administration was trying to bring together, it all bumps into this question, like, why would Putin stop right now? So the goal is not only to discuss the potential peace deal or referendum or whatever, but a way to pressure Putin into ending the war.
Kira, are you nervous about this potential meeting in terms of what could happen? Because there has been a couple of, quite feisty meetings between the world leaders. This needs to go well, but Donald Trump is so unpredictable. J.D. Vance the same. He's never visited Mar-a-Lago before. A lot could go wrong here.
That's absolutely true, and you're right. We are always nervous when this high-level meeting that will have such a significant impact on our life, on life of Ukrainian people, is taking place. And we have seen that things may go very good and may go very bad, or sometimes they may sound very good and everybody will be clapping and applauding, but nothing will happen. But if there is like a slight chance that it can bring peace closer, that Ukrainian people can stop being killed every single day and night, President Zelensky needs to take it and needs to try his best. And remember that the goal is not for him to become friends with President Trump, but the goal is to represent a country that's bleeding, people who are being killed and their homes being destroyed. And we need to find a way to put an end to it and make sure that Russia would not attack us again. I really hope that President will be remembering that getting into Mar-a-Lago tomorrow.
President Zelensky has got this 20-point peace plan. Is that realistically a starting point, or is he genuinely hoping that Donald Trump might agree to the majority or even all of the demands in that plan?
So this plan was worked with the American administration first of all, and President Zelensky and the team on the other side and our European partners. So whatever is there shouldn't be a surprise to President Trump. However, the devil is in details. For example, the critical point on the security guarantees is just written with one line, that there would be security guarantees. Obviously, that is not something that is really workable, something that needs to be discussed. Then the question about the territorial gains of Russia and, of course, the Zaporizhzhia nuclear station, which is the largest nuclear station in Europe. And right now it's under the control of Russia, and it's really dangerous situation, and has been since they have taken over it. Because we have seen Chernobyl, we know what can happen if there is a mistake that's being made, and we really want to have the international control of the station.
Kira, in some of the lines we've heard from Volodymyr Zelensky as he departs for Florida. We've heard him reference Putin's demand for Ukrainians in Russia to vote. He said that that would delegitimize elections. What's your reaction to that? And more broadly, this idea that any plan needs to go to a referendum with the people. Zelensky's called it the Ukrainian Brexit moment. That was quite a fraught, 52 versus 48 vote. This could be very different.
So when anyone is talking about any sort of referendum, elections, anything else, it is such a far-fetched discussion because in the security situation as we have right now, again, people being attacked and killed just this night, and us just being able to defend ourselves the way we can, until there is a very clean situation about how there would be a ceasefire, how it will be monitored, and how peace would come, it's only that time when we will be able to discuss any sort of opportunities and possibilities to gather people and allow them to vote. And there is a long path to preparing it properly that starts with real security guarantees. So, of course, these discussions need to happen to start certain process. But honest, I can tell you, like when you go on the street right now, people are trying to hand over heated water to their neighbors to help them warm up their apartments. And people have zero intention into any sort of voting right now. It's mainly the survival. And I cannot imagine in this situation somebody going on the street and say, here is the flyer, vote for me. It's just impossible from all sorts of angles, security and just really moral angle.
Kira, just very quickly, you suggested there that Zelensky might be sort of perhaps too interested in making friends with Trump to speak boldly for Ukraine. Do you think that your leader, there is a danger of that he'll be just too friendly with Donald Trump and won't stand up for your country's interests?
Well, President Zelensky, it will be not his first time with President Trump. And I'm absolutely sure that given the hard situation, the president will try to do the right thing and do his best in representing our country's interest. It's not only that Ukraine is watching, but all the European leaders who put their trust into Zelensky are watching and are waiting for him to properly represent the conclusion and everybody's agreement that is right now. We are not talking about Ukraine right now in general. It's also about the security of Europe that needs to be set properly and needs to be discussed with many, many partners. So I'm an opposition party leader, but I really wish him luck because there is so much on the line.
OK, Kira Rudik, Ukrainian MP, leader of the political party Golos, thank you so much for your time this morning. And of course, we will be following closely those developments in Florida as they come.
Yes, still to come. Secret Files have unveiled a feud between Princess Diana and then the Prince of Wales, Charles.
But next, a story that undoubtedly will infuriate you because migrants have been given priority medical treatment after crossing over on small boats. Stay with us here on Saturday Morning Live, only on GB News, for all the details.
the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk
No,
now?
that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Saturday Morning Live with me, Charlie Peters and Olivia Utley, and we're joined in the studio to go through today's top story by Judita De Silva and Candice Holdsworth. Olivia, where are we starting today?
Well, on the face of it, Candice, I'm going to start with you. This seems like a pretty astonishing story. Contractor GPs working for the Home Office have been offered £135,000 a year. That's more than an average GP in the NHS works, in order to provide first-class treatment for illegal migrants. So essentially, illegal migrants going right to the front of the queue on healthcare.
Yeah, so I think that is exactly the perception that's going to be created, and it's something I'm hearing more and more from people in ordinary life. A, they're talking about the preferential treatment, so they're getting ready access to GPs, which most people do not get. And B, it's the cost of the asylum system. I mean, getting paid nearly double what you get paid in the NHS to work in these deportation centres, that is going to cost an absolute fortune. I think there's been a blurring, I think, within the British state of what should be prioritised, and I think it is completely logical and common sense to say that British citizens should get priority over non-citizens. I'm not saying that people shouldn't get healthcare, absolutely, but it shouldn't cost this much.
Judita, Chris Philp, the Shadow Home Secretary, has said that this is a disgrace. The government has given the red carpet treatment to illegal migrants. I imagine you take a different view.
I do. I mean, because that's kind of an evocative spin on the situation. Just look at the practicalities of it. Even if there's always the worry about the harm that these migrants could cause. People who actually do cause harm, criminals in prison, get healthcare, they get food, they get shelter. If you've got a concentration of people you don't know what kind of ill health they could be in, they do require medical treatment. At a rudimentary humane level, you provide them with such. Where is the medical treatment going to come from? The NHS is already on its knees and underserviced. You can't start siphoning off NHS doctors, so you have to get private contractors. Now, when you're looking at the actual wages that they're getting, where they're saying it's around £520 a day, private care, for 15 minutes for initial consultation with a doctor on Basil Street or Harley Street, it starts to around £300. So it's nowhere near that. These are private contractors. They're going to be, it has to be something that's financially viable for them to do. So this is normally what the going market rate would be for them, and that's the only place you can get the doctors from. So then saying that it's the red carpet treatment, first of all, you do a disservice to the NHS doctors. They get the same training, the same education. They are all exceptional doctors.
It's the red carpet treatment to the migrants, not to the doctors, though,
that
right?
idea of like red carpet, these are doctors. They're qualified. They've studied. They've got the same training.
Right,
what is the red carpet illusion?
Access, not about the training. It's about how they're approaching it.
The impression you're given by saying red carpet is that those on the NHS have something less. No, the doctors are great across the board. They have the same training.
It's not about the quality of the training. It's about how easy it comes to getting them, Judita. I think you're missing the point that Chris Philp's
That's why I made the comparison to prisons, because if you have them in a detention centre, people will get ill. They're just human beings. They get ill. They need treatment. Where is the treatment going to come from? If you got them from the NHS, same as everyone else, that would be a problem, because the NHS is already there's over demand. So you have to get them as private contractors, and those contractors have to be paid.
But Candice, and I want to ask you too about this, Judita, isn't there a risk that if you are ill in another country, you're not able in your country for whatever reason to get the healthcare that you want, it is a draw. You could come to the UK because you can see these adverts on these websites, and you can see that they are advertising for first first-class doctors to work in these detention centres, why not go to a detention centre, and then you have the very real prospect of getting into the black economy afterwards?
There's huge pull factors, and I think it's something we haven't been able to deal with in this country. There are just enormous amounts of people in the asylum system that we have to cater for because we just have not been able to get on top of it. I know Shabana Mahmood's bringing in these reforms. There's a lot of high hopes. I'm very sceptical about it. I just feel like this country isn't tough enough. If we look at successful models like Australia and the US, who've been able to drastically reduce the number of people claiming asylum and being successful, that's where we have to go. And until that's sorted, I think people are going to continually be angry about this.
Chisita, I think you've got a point about access and how the care has to be provided. But I think it's so difficult for the government to have these sorts of scenarios when the care across the country is so poor. The main feeling people have, and Candice has alluded to it just there, is that sense of unfairness, right? Perhaps the solution here is to find a way to give this level of care for people across the country.
I mean, you would want to do that, but then you then delve into the other stories you're covering about where is the manpower, because at the end of the day, for the amount of care that is required to the number of people that's required, where are the doctors? Where are they going to come from? Who can actually afford to pay them when you've got an economy that's on its knees? But at the same time, yes, within the detention centres, I don't think anyone is going to find it attractive to live in a detention centre. So the fact that they're saying that they've created this detention centres to say that you're not just going to get a free ride into the country, we're processing you here to send you back. But if you fall ill, should they just fester in ill health, or should they get a doctor? They need a doctor.
I mean, processing to send them back, I'll believe that when I see it. Very, very different other stories.
Well, let's get a statement first from the Home Office. The spokesman said that the Home Office does not directly fund these roles. We are making sweeping reforms to tackle illegal migration, which will make Britain a less attractive destination for illegal migrants. And they say this will allow them to deport people more easily. But let's move on to the next one, sorry.
Yes. Rachel Johnson, the journalist and sister of former Prime Minister Boris Johnson, says she was barred from competing in Strictly Come Dancing whilst her brother was in frontline politics.
She said that she had been asked to compete, but the BBC stopped her. She didn't pass the broadcaster's compliance. Candice, what do you make of this? Is this another example of a bit of Boris bashing from the BBC, them being more hesitant to engage with right-leaning figures, even by association in the case of Rachel Johnson?
Maybe. I think that, yeah, it was a bit of overcautiousness. I mean, I don't think it would have made any difference at all if Rachel Johnson had appeared on Strictly Come Dancing. I do think, though, that when they do try to bring people from the right side of the spectrum, there is sometimes a bit of a backlash against them. The audience doesn't always like it. Like, I think they thought they were taking a bit of a risk with someone like Tom Skinner, and it ended very, very badly. Although maybe Rachel Johnson is more of a centrist figure and wouldn't promote the same sort of backlash.
Do you think that Rachel Johnson was treated differently from a brother or sister, say, of a left-wing leader?
I don't know, because I'm kind of in two minds about this, because if you think about it for anywhere else, if you have a family member in frontline politics, it's a security issue. You kind of get the come-to-Jesus talk within the family that there's certain things you can't do now while I'm in frontline politics, even though you want to, and everybody has to regulate. That could be part of the motivation behind it, that do we want the Prime Minister's sister on a show that you've got the public watching it, you've got people voting, they've got to deal with the opinions of people, let's just avoid the drama. But then also I do think that, yeah, it's kind of, she is a problematic contestant to have for the BBC that's constantly juggling with the opinions of the public.
How is it problematic to have the sister appear?
When you just want a family show where people wear sparkly costumes and dance, having to deal with political opinion in that sphere can be exhausting.
But I don't feel as though they do offer political opinion, the contestants on the show.
It's right? The public, because inevitably that will fuel voting and what people say about the contestants and the parasocial activity that happens around a popular show like Strictly.
We just had Ed Balls, though, didn't we?
Yeah, look at what happened. Every time they've come on and look at what's gone on, but they've got the kind of personalities where you're already a politician, you're used to dealing with people that have a negative backlash. She's the sister of...
Have you met Rachel Johnson? She's got quite a personality. She's also got a media show in her own right. She's a pretty impressive figure.
So it's understandable that they've tried it before, they've seen what's happened, and sometimes you might say that this is the level of a Boris Johnson, which is credit to him, is far outweighs an Anne Widdecombe or an Ed Balls. So thinking about his sister would be a different juggernaut to deal with.
Last word to you, Candice. Do you think that the BBC is too cautious these days?
I do. I think they need to take more risks. I feel like people are in real silos now. The amount of people I speak to who say they never watch the BBC or they never watch Channel 4. And we used to have these shared experiences when I was a child, a Saturday night shared experience. And there's less and less of that now.
Yeah.
Well, thank you to Judita and Candice. Lots more on today's show, but first, let's get the news headlines with Bethany Elsey.
Good morning. The headlines from the GB newsroom. Russia strikes Ukraine with around 500 drones and 40 missiles overnight, leaving hundreds of thousands without power ahead of a meeting between the US and Ukraine presidents in Florida tomorrow. Thailand and Cambodia have agreed to a ceasefire to end weeks of fighting along their disputed border, in which 100 people were killed and more than 1 million displaced. A gap year scheme to give school and college leavers under the age of 25 a taste of the Army, Navy or RAF without a long-term commitment will take recruits in the spring. And England have won their first Ashes test down under for 15 years after beating Australia by 4 wickets in the 4th test in Melbourne. Those are your latest headlines. More for you at 12 o'clock.
Take the GB News family with you on any device. As long as you have an internet connection, tune into GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond.
Thank you, Bethany. Still to come on Saturday Morning Live, secret files have revealed a feud between Princess Diana and the then Prince of Wales, Charles.
And Gen Z has got a more relaxed attitude to driving, according to a new survey. I thought they didn't drink at all. We'll be speaking to one of them.
This is Saturday Morning Live, only on GB News, Britain's news channel. See you in a moment.
Hello, here's your latest weather update from the Met Office for GB News. Over the next few days, we'll see a lot of dry, albeit often fairly cloudy weather, and staying pretty chilly at times too for the time of year. We've got high pressure centred towards the north and northwest of the UK. That's feeding our air in from the east and northeast, quite brisk winds, particularly across the south of the UK today, and a fairly chilly direction from the east or northeasterly direction as well. So heading into this afternoon, a lot of cloud feeding in on that easterly flow across the north and east of the UK. Bits and pieces of patchy light rain or drizzle in places, whereas towards the south and west it's a brighter picture with some sunshine at times across Scotland too. Quite a keen wind though blowing, especially across the south, so although temperatures generally close to average today at 5 to 9 Celsius, feeling much colder out and about, especially across the south of the UK. So to end the day, across the north of the UK, we'll see some clear weather across parts of Scotland, some cloud across the southern part of Scotland, but towards the north, some early clear spells as we go into the evening. A few cloud breaks across parts of Northern Ireland too, and then we head into thicker cloud across northern England, thick enough in places to give 1 or 2 patches of light rain or drizzle. Quite a bit of cloud across central and southern England and parts of Wales, but notice out towards the west and across some far southwestern parts of the UK, a few cloud breaks developing at times. As we head into the overnight period, then we'll see quite a lot of cloud across England and Wales. Again, the best of the breaks out towards the far west and southwest. Cloud thick enough in places to give the odd spot of rain, especially across some hilltops. And always the clearest skies across parts of Scotland, locally across parts of Northern Ireland too. Turning quite frosty across Scotland. We could see 1 or 2 freezing fog patches by Sunday morning, but mostly frost-free towards the south under that cloud shield. So into Sunday then, the fog and frost across the north of the UK will only slowly clear in places, leaving some sunshine on Sunday. Across England and Wales, a lot of cloud around. Again, the best of the sunshine out towards the west and southwest. It's a mostly dry picture though on Sunday, and notice later in the day we'll start to see some clearer weather coming into the southeast, with temperatures close to average at best, but still quite chilly across parts of Scotland there.
Britain was once the envy of the world, but look around. A nation that no longer knows what it is or where it's going. A country that's broken. How do we fix Britain? How do we bring it back? Friday night with Matt Goodwin at 8 p.m. only on GB News.
No matter the state it's in, this is our nation. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for a genuine, honest discussion on where we have been, where we are going, and where we are with the people who set the direction. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock, only on GB News.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
to Saturday Morning Live. It's 33 minutes past 11, and on to some royal news now, because a new document has revealed that the late Princess Diana's press team was branded as predatory by the then Prince of Wales's staff, who claimed that her staff devoted time to upstaging him.
Yes, the documents released from the National Archives of Ireland were written to Irish officials 30 years ago, ahead of the then Prince of Wales's two-day visit to Ireland in 1995, after his high-profile separation from Diana in 92.
Now, one of the Prince's staff suggested that Diana's team, which they claimed was more predatory and skilled with the media, would likely stage a visit of their own soon afterwards.
Well, joining us now is royal commentator and biographer Ingrid Seward. Now, we normally think of the sort of PR machine of the monarchy and poor Diana, aged 19 when she got engaged to the then Prince of Wales, not really having a clue. But this suggests that actually her team knew exactly what they were doing, and perhaps knew even more world-weary, more sophisticated than Prince Charles's team. Could that really be true?
Well, there were two offices and there was a division. So there was the Prince of Wales office and the Princess of Wales's office. And yes, I think the Princess of Wales's office were, you know, they were more on the ball in a way. And I think they were working very closely with her. And she was fighting for her life. She was fighting for her children. She didn't know what was going to happen to her. She thought the boys might be taken away from her because, after all, she wasn't blood royal and they might go to their father. So she was very careful in everything she did. And in fact, after the Prince of Wales went to Ireland in 95, Diana went over there and visited. Well, she was Colonel-in-Chief of the Princess of Wales's own regiment, so she went to visit them there. And the Irish loved her; they absolutely loved her.
Some of the details coming out of this archive release, Ingrid, shows that Charles's press team reported to Irish officials they felt that the visit to Ireland was the best public outing the Prince has had in a very long time. And I suppose what's not being said there is the undertones that this was a competition, in a sense, at the time.
Well, it was called the War of the Waleses. So, in a way, it was a competition, but a sort of underground competition. And this is what really sort of tipped the Queen over, because she saw that whatever happened, the news was Charles and Diana. Charles was doing one thing and Diana did another. So, yes, it did appear that she was outsmarting him at every move. And I think that obviously Charles's press team were very conscious of this, because, you know, he was the important one. He was the Prince of Wales and she was, you know, the separated wife.
I mean, it seems extraordinary, this War of the Waleses, really quite nasty stuff going on between the two of them, and caught in the middle of it, two young boys. How do you think it is affecting William and Harry now, reading this again, being, dug up again, this war between their mother and their father?
I think they're so used to it now. And I think what they felt, you know, when they were, you know, was that the whole world had their mother, but, you know, it was their mother. And I think they felt hurt because they think they had a right to a little bit of privacy about their mother, but they were so used to it. And also they were quite well protected from it. They were always had people around them. They had protection officers. They were both away at school. The schools really protected them from publicity. So they didn't sit there watching television and reading newspapers, you know, perhaps like we all did back in the day, but they certainly didn't. So they were quite protected.
OK, Ingrid Seward, royal commentator and biographer, thank you very much for your time this morning.
Thank you.
It does seem so sad, doesn't it, that those two boys who went through so much together are now not on speaking terms and probably never will be again.
Yeah, well, I think one of the wish lists for royal watchers next year would be a thawing of tensions there. But as you say, Olivia, I think highly unlikely. Right, well, it's 37 minutes past 11 and the government has been accused of killing the high street through taxation, with shoppers expected to have spent £1 billion less than last year in the Boxing Day sales.
There have been mixed reports, with retailers saying they'd had a really good start to the Boxing Day sales, but other data suggesting a decline in footfall compared to last year, with some retailers citing the continued rising cost of living as a cause for concern.
Right, well, let's go speak to our very own GB News Northern Ireland reporter, Doogie Beattie. He's on the high streets of Belfast. Doogie, what can you tell us about the footfall in the capital today?
Well, the footfall is definitely down. I'm actually at Donegal Street, Royal Avenue junction here. This is Northern Ireland, Belfast's main shopping area in the centre of the capital. And as you can see behind me, it's pretty empty at 11:30 on a Saturday afternoon. Most Saturday afternoons, actually, it would be busier than this normally. So today, when we look at this, we think to ourselves, those warnings that we've been given about the high street, the cost of rates, business rates, commercial rates, the cost of doing business in the high street is definitely affecting them. I mean, I'm sitting watching around me here. There's a few bags going about the place, but not very many. People here are out for a walk. They're having a look at the shops. There's not much sales going on here, and that really contradicts what was said in a document this morning, a report saying that those sales are up. They may be in certain areas, but definitely that is in the big retail parks where you can park your car, walk on in, see many shops in it, and walk back to your car with those very goods that you've bought. There isn't a real attack on motorists going on inside all the cities inside the UK. It costs you a lot to park your car here, and many of the car parks are outside the shopping precinct itself, very far away from it, which is causing problems for shoppers, especially if they're buying big ticket items such as televisions or lots of clothes, etc. It's a brave walk back to that car. So really, the high street needs to have a look at this over these next few months. We say this every year, but really when you see Royal Avenue on the day after Boxing Day and it looks like that, there is something very wrong here, and we would like to gauge that against the rest of the UK to see what the likes of Liverpool, maybe Birmingham, Glasgow are like. Unfortunately we can't today, but we will soon find those figures out.
Have a look at this. Surely Rachel Reeves needs to have a look at this as well. Those business tax on retailers are just so high. It's doing them out of business. We're seeing it with pubs, we're seeing it with shops. Do you think that Rachel Reeves might have any kind of U-turn on those business rates in the first month of the next year?
Well, we've seen business rates and inheritance tax, and of course that inheritance tax that came on farmers just wasn't on farmers, it was small businesses. Anything over a certain amount got hit by that. Also the national insurance contributions really hit employers, especially with part-time workers here, which most of these shops, if you think about it and go back maybe 10 years, loads of people had Christmas jobs in the likes of the big Primark here behind me, JD Sports across there. They were all packed out with workers at Christmas time for those crowds coming in. Of course, now with the national insurance that they have to pay, that also has gone out of reach. There really needs to be a reset of the economy on the high streets in and around the UK, and I can tell you this is being mirrored in the Republic of Ireland, which of course is part of the EU as well. There is too much paperwork, councils asking too many high rates for their own services, and really it is quite frightening how bad the high street is at this minute in time. If I do get a chance, yesterday I was in a retail park and it was okay. Today I will try to get to another retail park to find out, is it buzzing?
OK, Doogie Beattie, thanks so much, our Northern Ireland reporter. Do stay warm, please, mate. It looks pretty chilly out there. Get yourself into a spoon to have a cup of tea, please. He's gone, I hope he is. Hope he's on the way.
Well, still to come, we'll be joined by Gen Zedder. They'll be speaking about their generation's attitudes to drink driving. And it might surprise you, actually.
Yes, indeed. But first, if you are in search of some holiday sun like Doogie, here's a forecast from the top European destinations.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello. If you're off to the Eastern Med or Italy over the next few days for a New Year break, it'll be often sunny and dry, but much more unsettled towards the Western Med, particularly across Iberia, with some areas of low pressure bringing in some heavy rain, some strong gusty winds as well, and some mountain snow. Heavy snow on Saturday and into Sunday across the Pyrenees and Andorra. The showers clearing away from Sicily, leaving most of Italy and Greece fine and sunny, but there will be some heavy snow across parts of northern Turkey, otherwise a fine outlook elsewhere.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
9:30.
It is indeed.
And as the new year approaches, we've got, for the very first time, our GB News charity calendar. It's on sale, and 100% of the price. I should point out, actually, the pictures were taken by you and voted for by you, because we've got so many entries. So you've made this. 100% of the profits go to our 2025 charity partner, which is the London Taxi Drivers Charity for Children. And that actually is also proudly supported by Her Majesty the Queen. Really, really lovely
But look, I'm
pictures.
just going to take... There's a... Oh, hold on a sec. There we go. Look, how lovely are those pictures? From all over
It's really
the place.
nice. It's what is most important is the fact that, as we say, 100% of the money is going to charity. If you pick one up at the GB News shop online, and the chairman of the Taxi Drivers Charity for London is Anthony Moore, and he's here. It's great to see you.
Good morning.
Tell us a little bit about what the charity does.
We do several events a year. We take kids to the seaside as a group of taxis. So this year we had 80 taxis transferring around about 200 children. We went to the zoo this year, and so we've done that as an event. Everybody gives up their time. The taxi drivers just give up their time, all just so that the kids can have a good time. We've got our Christmas party, or the Mad Hatters party. That's in January, and we've got now 700 and... We've had to limit the numbers this year. We've got 720 children coming at the moment.
Wow.
But they will be entertained by singers, dancers. We've got the King's Welsh Guards turning up to give them the dimensions of the dance floor. So they're coming to do, in their full regalia, they hang around, hats on children, photographs. So, you know, we do several things.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK, we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Saturday Morning Live. New research shows that 37% of Gen Z believe it's more socially acceptable to drive when marginally over the limit, compared with 9% of baby boomers.
Now, the survey of more than 2,000 adults comes as the government's long-awaited road safety strategy is set to be published in the new year.
The changes are expected to reduce the drink-drive limit in England and Wales from 35 micrograms of alcohol per 100 millilitres of breath to 22 micrograms, matching Scotland.
Well, joining us now to discuss this is Communications Officer at the IEA, Reem Ibrahim, and author of Never Drinking Again, Dom McGregor. Good morning to you both. Merry Christmas. Reem, I want to start with you. What's your take on this? As you're a member of Gen Z, I believe, on the slightly more relaxed attitude that the generation is taking towards drink driving.
Hey, good morning, and thank you for having me. Merry Christmas to you all, and I hope you all have a great new year. I mean, first of all, it must be said that obviously drink driving driving when you are extraordinarily over the limit is a really, really stupid thing to do, and it kills about 250 people a year. Don't do it. Do not harm your loved ones, and of course, do not harm people when you are driving. Very bad. Also, when it comes to drinking in general, it's really important that we are responsible. That being said, reducing the drink driving limit does not have the impact that I think a lot of people want it to have. Fundamentally, it is about personal responsibility. And quite frankly, every single person has a different limit. So having this sort of arbitrary one number fits all does not work, because I know that I probably can't drink as much as a 6 foot, very, very hunky man, because we just have different limits physically. Now, we have evidence that shows that actually reducing the drink driving limit doesn't necessarily have a huge impact on whether or not we do see those alcohol-related deaths. So in Scotland, in 2014, we saw them lower the limit to 50 milligrams of alcohol. And what happened next has been evaluated by at least 3 peer-reviewed studies, 1 by public health academics and 2 written by economists. They all found that lowering the limit had no impact on the number of road accidents, casualties, or fatalities in Scotland. So we have to ensure that what we are doing is going to be an evidence-based approach. Of course, drink driving is bad and nobody should do it. But when we're having a conversation about changing the law, it is really important that it is actually grounded in evidence.
Well, Dom, Reem's right, isn't she? You know, we're all against serious drink driving, but it does seem a bit strange that there are these limits which mean different things to different people. And it is true that in Scotland, when it was brought down, it didn't make any difference. Is this really defensible?
What we were talking about was actually whether Gen Z, who are 39% of them think it's socially acceptable to drink slightly over the limit, versus their grandparents, it's 9%. Yeah, completely. I think actually no one knows their limits before they leave the pub. Okay, so what we're talking about, I think, in my mind, is a little bit of the broken windows theory. So police are not as stringent and rules are being relaxed across the board in terms of policing. And actually what we're seeing is people creep into less socially acceptable behaviour. So if someone might say, okay, I'll have 2 pints and I'll drive because I'm like 6 foot and I can handle it better, and they don't actually know their limits while getting onto the road, and they go and hit someone who's just a normal person, not drunk, that's a problem. So while I'm all for making sure that these things are data-led, we can't have a data-led debate unless actually people understand what their limits are and what they are when they get into a car. So you have to do something like introducing testing when people leave a pub to know actually are they safe to drive or not to drive. Because otherwise actually people are just guessing, and actually that's very, very dangerous if people are assuming themselves from their own personal responsibility that they are okay to drive when drunk.
What do you make of this difference in attitudes among the generations about drink driving? Obviously, I'm Never Drinking Again being the title of that book. Do you think there is an issue with Gen Zers drinking less and not really understanding the alcohol that they're engaging with?
100%. So the reason I don't drink anymore is I used to drink too much. So I've come from experience of being someone who used to drink a lot of alcohol. So from my perspective, being a person who drinks a lot of alcohol, you don't understand the impact it has on you in terms of things like stopping distances. So that is grossly increased when you're under the influence. And that has a massive impact on terms of accidents on the road when it comes to actually increasing that distance. So from my perspective, I think Gen Z and young people in general learn through case studies. And if you've not experienced or seen one of your friends or someone you know died in an accident related to drink driving, you kind of think you're invincible. So until people go through these things themselves, and that's what older people have got, they've got more experience in life and they've been through more situations and seen what's happened in these examples, that's why they're less tolerant towards it, in my opinion.
Reem, very quickly, perhaps there's an argument just for making it totally illegal to drink anything before you drive. What would you make of that?
Well, it obviously wouldn't have much of an impact. And this entire conversation regarding the Times piece that looks specifically at the differences in attitude with Gen Zers is effectively proving that whatever the law is, people will bend it because every single person has a different attitude towards alcohol. This idea that we should all go teetotal and absolutely be boring through our entire lives, I just think completely for the birds. People can take responsibility. 99% of people in this country do not have a problem with alcohol. They drink responsibly. It is that 1% that we have to care about. And I don't think that we should make the law so arbitrary that it ruins the lives of everybody in this country.
Dom, very quickly.
Yeah, just in general, that's a very dangerous narrative to say that people that don't drink are boring. There's no association.
That's not the case. What I'm saying is that people should have their choice.
You did. No, you did. You say we don't have to all go boring and not drink.
Look,
That's exactly
I
what you
grew
said.
up in a Muslim household where we were not allowed to drink alcohol. I
Does it make
completely
you boring?
understand the perspective you were coming across. But lots of people in the United Kingdom like to have a drink, especially around Christmas, and I don't think that we should make that illegal.
I think we're
there's
going
no
to have to leave it
No
there. I'd love to get
correlation.
you both on again to discuss this fascinating conversation. Thank you so much to Reem and Dom, and thank you too to everyone at home for joining us on Saturday Morning Live.
But don't go anywhere, because up next, it's Dawn Neeson with The Weekend. Dawn, what's coming up on your show?
Hello, it's nearly as good as yours, not quite though. Oh, we've got a great show coming up. We've got some really shocking scenes from a shopping centre that was overtaken by Palestine Action with a massive demonstration, leaving kids in tears and people actually panicked and terrified, and not a single arrest. And we're also asking, what's racist today, kids? Bet you can't guess. The colours red, white and blue, obviously. And we're also talking about what the hell this day is. It's Twixmas. No one knows where they are, what they're doing or why they're doing it. All of that coming up after the weather.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello, here's your latest weather update from the Met Office for GB News. Over the next few days, we'll see a lot of dry, albeit often fairly cloudy weather, and staying pretty chilly at times too for the time of year. We've got high pressure centred towards the north and northwest of the UK. That's feeding our air in from the east and northeast, quite brisk winds, particularly across the south of the UK today, and a fairly chilly direction from the east or northeasterly direction as well. So heading into this afternoon, a lot of cloud feeding in on that easterly flow across the north and east of the UK. Bits and pieces of patchy light rain or drizzle in places, whereas towards the south and west it's a brighter picture with some sunshine at times across Scotland too. Quite a keen wind though blowing, especially across the south, so although temperatures generally close to average today at 5 to 9 Celsius, feeling much colder out and about, especially across the south of the UK. So to end the day, across the north of the UK, we'll see some clear weather across parts of Scotland, some cloud across the southern part of Scotland, but towards the north, some early clear spells as we go into the evening. A few cloud breaks across parts